In the dark shadows, in the white cold, fearlessly we search for knowledge new and old. We drink the strong spirits and read ancient tomes, the order of the Abracast. We are the brave and bold.
The Ages begins with the shocking story of Cain and Abel and the journey of violence and revenge spanning thousands of years, following Cain through his cursed life from an ancient invasion of malicious angels to the American Revolutionary War. A masterful, compelling journey through time, The Ages delves deep into arcane knowledge, myth, and legend. The art is stunning, and the story takes you on a journey where mortals, immortals, angels, and demons are all forced to deal with the folly that is God's creation. It's a beautifully dark and gritty ride through history. This 4-part story follows the astrological procession of the ages and how each 2,500-year age parallels major changes in the development of Earth's inhabitants. Cain's blasphemous struggle with the divine and sacred tyrant God will create and crumble empires, shape history, and cause a cosmic cataclysm.
It's a sweet mother's milk. Jude 14. It was also about these that Enoch, the 7th from Adam, prophesies, saying, Behold, the Lord comes with 10,000 of his holy ones to execute judgment on all and to convict all of the ungodly of all of their deeds of ungodliness that they have committed in such an ungodly way, and of all the harsh things that ungodly sinners have spoken against him. Jude 6. And the angels who did not stay within their own position of authority but left their proper dwelling, he has kept in eternal chains under gloomy darkness until the judgment of the great day. Genesis 5:19. Jared lived after he fathered Enoch 800 years, and had other sons and daughters. Thus all the days of Jared were 962 years, and he died. When Enoch had lived 65 years, he fathered Methuselah. Enoch walked with God after he fathered Methuselah 300 years, and had other sons and daughters. Thus all the days of Enoch were 365 years. Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. Hebrews 11:5. By faith, Enoch was taken up so that he would not see death, and he was not found because God had taken him. Now, before he was taken, he was commended as having pleased God. Duh. And you can check it in your Bible. Bam! Check it in your Bible. Look at your scriptures by the all-powerful, mighty God, the risen Jesus.
The Abercast. Occult. History. Conspiracy. Violence.
Just want to remind you, hello, everybody. This is this is John Towers. I'm your host of the Abercast. So it takes me a little while to hear you guys because so very little of you are vocal with me. Please. But I have heard the news loud and clear. No one gives a fuck about this music, so I'm not going to be asking about sending music in anymore. So if you're a band and you really are like, man, I wish I had a place where I can play my music, don't fucking send it to me. That shit's over. So sending music here is fucking over. Along this lines, I also usually encourage you guys to rate and review on iTunes. Fuck that. We're not doing that today. We're not talking about the mailing list. We're not fucking talking about that. I'm not asking you to contact me on my social media. Fuck all that. No one does it anyway. It's just a fucking waste of time to talk about it. So, forget it. It's fucking over. House cleaning, things are changing. If you can't tell, I'm a little on the agitated side this evening. So the structure of the show is going to be changing somehow. I'm not sure. I'm looking at it. I'm trying to fucking figure it out. Last week, I turned out like 3 hours and 11 minutes of content. Thousands of people listened to it. And I didn't get one shout out. I didn't get one rate and review. I mean, literally, this is like 12 hours of my week went into the last episode. I know you guys didn't ask for a big, huge 3-part episode. I didn't want to do a 3-part huge episode. I totally misunderstood in the amount of time it was going to take me to chew through all of the notes that I had. So whatever. I'm just saying, like, I need to get a better kind of. I feel like a fucking stripper stripping in a room full of people that aren't tipping me, and I'm like not even asking for the tips that I want aren't even fucking expensive. So all this shit's changing. Something's changing. It's all changing. This episode, we're going to be doing, we're going to be talking about one of the books of, we're no fucking nonsense. We're getting right into this thing. Because I got to catch up on comic book. I got fucking comic books to draw after this. And there's that Godzilla movie cartoon that looks real shitty that I got to go check out on Netflix tonight. So, I mean, I don't have a lot of time to fucking waste. Right. So let's get it. We're just going to get right into this thing. There's a lot of episodes that this is going to tie into, especially recently. We've been creeping up on this subject, and I've been kind of waiting to get into it a lot. So the Lesser Keys of Solomon aren't going to really touch into this, but whenever we get into like angelic hierarchies and stuff, which we're kind of going to do here, we're dealing with more than one angel. So, I mean, put that on your radar. Definitely episode 76, The Terrifying Angels of Genesis. We're going to want to touch base back with that episode. The Nimrod and the World War Zero and Adam's Underpants episode 70 and 71. We might want to connect to that. The Giant, episode 63, The Giant of Kandahar. That one's going to link into this. Let's see. Instead of writing all this down in my notes and prepping for it, I'm doing it just on the fly. So you got to fucking bear with me. Sign of Jonah. I'm not sure. Revelations. God, in Genesis or whatever, in the Bible, God said that, he put the stars in the sky and stuff to make signs. And we're going to find out who taught men how to read the signs of the stars in this episode. So that goes into that. So, what was that? 54 and 53, as well as episode 48, which is the Age of Aquarius. That has to do with star signs a little bit. God versus Job. the Book of Job, God versus Leviathan, episode 37. Depends on how far I get into this book. We might be talking about Leviathan and Behemoth. That takes place at the end. I'm probably not going to get to it, but just in case. And the episode 25, the Golem and Jew Wizardry. We are going to probably wind up talking a little bit about the Kabbalah tonight. So that might be there. So there's a laundry list of episodes. Yeah, I think that's about it. That this is going to link into. So I've read. Okay, so usually when you say the Book of Enoch, or there's actually an earlier translation to Enoch 1, which is called the Book of the Prophet Enoch, I think. That was done in the late 1800s. The translation that we're working from is the R.H. Charles D.D. translation. It's from 1917. So there's 3 different kinds of books of Enoch. They call it Enoch 1, 2nd Enoch, and 3rd Enoch. And one is, the first one is kind of like Enoch, the Hebrew stories of Enoch. And then the second one is like some other thing. And the third one is also the third one is real interesting. And we're actually going to do a show on that soon, probably, I don't know when. And that's going to link into this because that gets a lot into his Enoch's ultimate, well, not his ultimate fate, but his like becoming, like what happens to him. And that comes from an Ethiopian kind of tradition. So 3 Enoch is sort of the Ethiopian tradition. Right now we're dealing with first Enoch. Enoch 1, Enoch the first, the Book of Enoch. But you can get all 3 of them wrapped up like on Amazon. You can get a nice paper bound version of all 3 of them slammed together, jammed up, for I think like $15. So check that out if you want. You can go. Actually, Sacred Text only has the one that I'm working on tonight. It doesn't have 2nd or 3rd Enoch, at least that I could find. It is a labyrinthian website though, so I don't know. If you guys are checking out Sacred Text and you find it, let me know. What do you think? Do you like the Book of Enoch? Let me know. Chime in on the comments. Let me know what you think. Subscribe. That's you're gonna. Oh, okay. Man alive. So way back in the day when I first started doing my research on my these angels and everything, I ran into this Kabbalistic story, or this idea of Enoch, like this antediluvian kind of character who gets turned into Metatron, which is a lesser tetragrammaton. And you know from last week's episodes, all 3 hours and 11 minutes of them, the tetragrammaton is the 4 or 5 letter word for God. So you don't have to walk around saying, you're not walking around having to say his name. You just say the tetragrammaton. Like, that's way easier. But so the story goes that this cat Enoch, for whatever reason, he winds up getting transformed into this lesser tetragrammatron. Then he gets turned into like this lesser, like God Junior kind of. And the Kabbalists say like he's the most powerful archangel in the universe. And you know, a lot of times in 3 Enoch, as we'll get to eventually, or whatever, in these Kabbalistic things, they call him like the young prince or the youth. Or they have words like that for him, because when you're dealing with timescales, that you're dealing with these Old Testament angels, they've been around forever. Basically, they've been around since before, in between verses of the early Genesis. And then you have this one that shows that gets made. Like God takes him and he's like, "Yo, come here, bro." And he takes this little guy off of the planet Earth before he fucking floods it and kills everybody. And he's like, "You're like my homie." And he unwraps him like a fucking Hershey's Kiss. No, he wraps him up like a Hershey's Kiss. We'll just say that he puts the tinfoil wrapping on him like the Hershey's Kiss. And he's like, "Now," he goes, "I'll peanut butter and jelly sandwiches." a lightning bolt hits him, and he becomes like the most powerful bro ever. And he calls him the young prince, and all the angels call him like, hey, that's the youngster over there, or whatever. And yeah, the idea of like this human guy trapped in the body of this super powerful archangel played into some of the themes and stuff that I was talking about at the time, or in previous projects, like dudes stitched into suits and in this kind of stuff where the man is fragile, but the suit is strong, or the suit looks like it's fragile, but it's strong because it's, stitched together or double tight or whatever I was working on at the time, whatever. So I really hooked up with this idea of Metatron, and I used them, and I would use them in like these surrealistic ways. Like I did this one not painting, I did a marker rendering of them in college, and to make them all like Dada, like surrealism, Dada, like punk rock. I fucking did this beautiful marker rendering of him and like the background and everything. You could see where he was like sewn into this armor, and I fucking tore the rendering in half, and I safety pinned it together. So anyhow, not getting too much into it. I'm just trying to explain what I was drawn to with this character, why I spend so much time on him, and why he's in so many of my books. He's not so much of a character as he is he's sort of like a plot point, like when like Doctor Strange was at his most powerful, like in the 80s or 90s. He really wasn't a character so much as because he could do everything. He's, they're like, well, God, what are we going to do? We got all these vampires, and like Strange is sitting in his townhouse in New York City. This isn't Speaker City, boy. This is New York City. So he's just like, oh, hey, man, I don't like all these vampires. I'm going to do a spell and get rid of them all. Literally, Marvel Comics did that at one point in time. You're like, how that you get on like the border of how that's not really even a character. It's just like a Deus Ex Machina with a goatee and a funny cape. So that's kind of the way that he wound up getting used for me, which is great because, Enoch as a man should have problems and characteristics and issues. But Enoch as Metatron, especially being Metatron for so long, since like the Old Testament until today, he should be like aloof. He only gets involved when he's got to, like when he gets ordered to. Other than that, he's like, he just kind of like hangs out. He's like above it all. He just kind of like is like, come on already. I've seen this fucking rerun. Like, can't we just get over it? So tonight we're kind of going to be talking about like this Enochian, the origin story of Metatron. And it's not perfect. It's not perfect. But there is a lot of stuff leading up to it, and we get into like the Genesis 6 stuff, which is where it all comes to play. And as normal, tonight I am gonna play my comic book spots, and a lot of these comic books, especially the graphic novels, have Metatron. Actually, the Ages doesn't have Metatron in it, does it? No, I don't think so. Anyhow. He's there. He's in the books sometimes. If you're really curious, he's got a bookend situation in the Jin Jihad books, and he's got kind of a tragic turn there at the end. I haven't had a drink in like 5 days. Oh, and this tastes so good. So good, bro. The words of the blessing of Enoch, wherewith he blessed the elect and righteous, who will be living in the day of tribulation. when all the wicked and godless are to be removed. And he took upon his parable and said, Enoch, a righteous man whose eyes were opened by God, saw the vision of the Holy One in the heavens, which the angel showed me, and from them I heard everything. And from them I understood as I saw, but not for this generation, but for a remote one, which is for to come. Concerning the elect, I said, and I took up my parable concerning them. The holy great one will come forth from his dwelling, and the eternal God will tread upon the earth on Mount Sinai, and appear from his camp, and appear in the strength of his mighty from the heaven of heavens. And all shall be smitten with fear, and the watchers shall quake, and the great fear and trembling shall seize them unto the ends of the earth. And the high mountains shall be shaken, and the high hills shall be made low, and shall melt like wax before the flame. And the earth shall wholly rent in sunder, and all that is upon the earth shall perish. And there shall be a judgment upon all men. But with the righteous he shall make peace. He will protect the elect. And mercy shall be upon them, and they shall all belong to God, and they shall be prospered, and they shall all be blessed. And he will help them all, and light shall appear unto them, and he will make peace with them. And behold, he cometh with 10,000s of his holy ones to execute judgment upon all, and destroy all the ungodly, and all and to convict all flesh, and the works of their ungodliness which shall have ungodly committed, and all of the hard things which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. Chapter 2. Observe ye everything that takes place in heaven, how they do not change their orbits in the luminaries which are in heaven, how they all rise and set in order, each in its season, and transgress not against their appointed order. Behold ye the earth, and give heed to the things which take place upon it from first to last, and how steadfast they are. How none of these things upon earth change, but all the works of God appear to you. Behold the summer and the winter, and how the whole earth is filled with water, and clouds, and dew, and rain lay upon it. Observe and see how in the winter all the trees seem as though they had withered and shed their leaves, except 14 trees which do not lose their foliage, but retain their old foliage from 2 or 3 years until the new comes. And again observe ye the days of summer, how the sun is above the earth over against it, and you seek shade and shelter by reason of the heat of the sun, and the earth also burns with growing heat, and so you cannot tread on the earth or on a rock by reason of its heat. Observe ye how the trees cover themselves with green leaves and bear fruit. Wherefore give ye heed, and know with regard to all his works, and recognize how he that liveth forever hath made them so. And all his works go on thus from year to year forever. And all the tasks which they accomplish for him, and their tasks change not, but according to God hath ordained, so it is done. And behold how the seas and the rivers in like manner accomplish and change not their tasks, but his commandments. Be ye have not been steadfast, nor done the commandments of the Lord, but ye have turned away and spoke proud and hard words, and your impugn mouths against his greatness. O ye hard-hearted, ye shall find no peace. Wow, that sounds dirty. Hold on. But ye have not been steadfast, nor done commandments of the Lord. Commandments of the Lord, but ye have turned away and spoken proud and hard words, and your impure mouths against his greatness. O ye hard-hearted, ye shall find no peace. Therefore shall ye execrate your days, and the years of your life shall perish, and the years of your destruction shall be multiplied in eternal execration, and ye shall find no mercy. In those days ye shall make your names an external execration unto all the righteous, and by you shall all who curse, and all the sinners and godless shall imprecate you. And for you, the godless, there shall be a curse, and all the shall rejoice. And I did not miss a word. It goes dark. It goes blank. And all the ... shall rejoice. And there shall be forgiveness of sins, and every mercy and peace and forbearance, and there shall be salvation unto them, and goodly light. And for all of your sinners there shall be no salvation, but on you all shall abide a curse. But for the elect there shall be light and joy and peace, and they shall inherit the earth. But then there shall be bestowed upon the elect wisdom, that there shall all live and never again sin, either through ungodliness or through pride. But they who are wise shall be humble, and they shall not again transgress, nor shall they sin in the days of their lives, nor shall they die the divine anger or wrath, but they should complete the number of the days of their lives. And their lives shall be increased in peace, and the years of their joy shall be multiplied, and the eternal gladness and peace in the days of their lives. And we shall fight on the beaches, we shall fight on the shores, and we shall fight in the air, and we shall never surrender. Drink to my golden tongue. All right, so there we are. This is up until this point, up until chapter 6, is basically just status quo. It's basically, this is what it is. All the good guys are going to be cool. All the bad guys are going to live with a curse, and that's the end of it. You know, it's explaining nature. It's like, you know, there's seasons and the trees lose their leaves, and then in the summertime it comes back and everything's fucking hot and shit, and the ones that are righteous will be saved and they'll be blessed and, you know, live a happy life, long life, all the days of their lives, and the wicked ones are gonna have a curse and they're gonna have to go to General Hospital. So, but shit gets real right here. This is where the story like takes off, bro. This is the elaboration of you know, this Genesis 6 thing that we've been talking about lately. So it's gonna right here is chapter 6. And then it came to pass that children of men had multiplied in those days, were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters, and the angels, the children of heaven, saw and lusted after them. And they said unto one another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and begat us children. And Semjaziah, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. And they all answered him and said, Let us swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then swear they all together and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And they were in all 200, and descended in those days of Jared to the summit of Mount Hermon, and they called it Mount Hermon. because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And these are the names of their leaders. Semaenzia, their leader. So they just go on and name a bunch of these guys. So really what's going on here is they were all like, this is very clearly depicted in the Ages graphic novel. I do a little bit of backstory to make this understandable a little bit more. Mother's milk. But these guys, so they're like, man, I want to go down there and fuck that chick. So it was like, we should go down there and fuck those chicks. And then their leader was like, well, I'm afraid if I go down there and fuck those chicks, no one will follow me, and I'll wind up fucking that chick all by myself. And so they're all like, no, bro, we're gonna do a pact. We're gonna go down there, all of us, and we're gonna go down there and we're gonna fuck all those chicks. So they already understand what they're doing is wrong. Like, whatever. So there's an idea that like angels don't have private parts or whatever. They don't have sexual organs. Like some places you'll see it, like, we'll just say, like, remember the prophecy movies? The prophecy movies they actually polar twist this, and they were like, not only do they not have sex organs, it's not that they don't have sex organs, they have both sex organs. So all of these angels run around and they're hermaphrodites. So, and, I mean, I guess, oh man, I don't know, I don't want to get into this whole thing, but like, there's a Gnostic kind of idea that, you know, when the human beings were created, they were like four-armed hermaphrodites, four-legged hermaphrodites, and when they got pulled apart to create men and women, to separate them, to trap them in the material world, you know, when they got pulled apart, literally they got halved. So like each person got 2 arms and 2 legs and 2 arms and 2 legs, and one person got a boner, or one person got a vajayjay. So, I mean, I don't know if that's where this hermaphroditic angel thing came from. However, I believe it goes on to say, like, within the subtext, that this is the last time angels have genitalia. So in this, when I recap this story or talk about this story in my comic books, besides, you know, we'll get into their punishments later, but also I believe they probably got castrated. And then, like, all the hardware of the surviving angels who hadn't fallen yet, like, they get their genitalia just taken away from them. Like, nope, hey, wait, where are you going with those balls? Give me those balls. You're not going down there with those balls. Or vice versa, whatever. So I'm not going to go through all these names because it's embarrassing because I can't say them all. But chapter 6, verse 8, there are their chiefs. These are their chiefs of 10. Chapter 7, and all the others together with them took unto themselves wives, and each chose for himself one, and they began to go into them and defile themselves within them. And they taught them charms and enchantments and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with the plants. And they became pregnant, and they bare great giants whose height was 3,000 ells, who consumed all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. We're talking about giant cannibalism, son. So what they're saying is these giants hold on, let me finish this. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish. They were just fucking everything. And to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. And the earth laid accusations against the lawless ones. So these giants showed up, and what they're talking about, what he's saying is that there is a logistical issue. Like the men, the farmers or whatever, the sheep herders and all that stuff, they couldn't gather enough logistics to keep these giants alive. So once the giants got through all the grains and crops and sheep, and they fucked all the birds and the lizards and the fish and everything. Everything. They turned to cannibalism. They fucking cannibals. So I think we kind of go back in time here for a little bit. We talk about more stuff that the angels taught the humans, and Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known unto them metals. So Azazel was running around teaching metallurgy and the sharpening of metals and hardening of metals and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and to use the antimony and of the beautifying of the eyelids. So they're running around teaching chicks how to make their eyes more beautiful. Like, hey, babe, do you know what this clumping mascara will do? We got some non-running eyeshadow over here. I don't know anything about this stuff. I think I'm mixing them up. And all kinds of costly stones and the coloring of tinctures. And there arose much godlessness. And they committed fornication and were led astray and became corrupt in all of their ways. Semengezia taught enchantments and root cuttings, and Amoros the resolving of enchantments. Bark-Iel taught astronomy. Kobiel taught the constellations. Ezekiel the knowledge of clouds. Erekiel the signs of the earth, and Samziel the signs of the sun, and Sariel the course of the moon. And as men perished, they cried, and their cries went up to heaven. And then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood being shed upon the earth, and all the lawless beings wrought up upon the earth. And they said to one another, the earth made without inhabitants cries the voice of their crying up to the gates of heaven. And now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men make their suit, saying, bring our cause to the Most High. And they said unto the Lord of the ages, Lord of lords, God of God, and King of kings, and the God of the ages, the throne of thy glory standeth up unto all the generations of the ages, in thy name holy and glorious and blessed unto all the ages. Thou hast made all things, the power over all things hast thou, and all things are naked and open in thy sight, and thou seest all things, and nothing can hide itself from thee. And thou seest what Azazel has done, who hath taught all unrighteous upon the earth, and revealed the eternal secrets which were preserved in heaven, which were striving to learn. The Semjezia, who to whom thou hast given authority to bear rule over his associates, and they have all gone to the daughters of men upon earth, and have all slept with the women, because it's all about the earth chicks. It's all about the earth chicks all the time, and have defiled themselves and revealed to them all kinds of sins, and the women have borne giants, and the whole earth hast thereby been filled with blood and unrighteousness. And now behold, the souls of those who have died are crying and making their suit to the gates of heaven, and their lamentations have ascended and cannot cease because of the lawless deeds which are wrought upon the earth. And thou knowest all things before they come to pass, and thou seest these things, and thou dost suffer from them, and thou dost not say to us what we are to do in regard to these. So this is the generals. This is General Michael. This is the messenger Gabriel. This is Raphael, and I think Uriel. And they see what's going on, and they're like, yo, God, like, bro, it's going down on earth. What should we do? Like, you know what's going on. You know what's up. What should we do? What should we do? And God's going to answer him right after this. right, back to the Book of Enoch. So, basically what's going on is these group of angels came down and fucked a bunch of earth chicks. And they started having these giant monsters as babies. And they would eat up all the resources. They turned to cannibalism. It was like the Armageddon was going on. And people all around the world were crying and lamenting. And their cries were making it up to heaven. And at the gates of heaven stood these archangels. I think I know which ones they are, but let me make sure. Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel. And so they're standing at the gate, and they're like, man, that shit is fucked up, what's going on down there. And they turn to God, and they're like, yo, man, you know, you're our God. You know all this stuff that's going on down there. Like, what do we do? What do we do? And then said the Most High, and the Holy Great Ones spake, and sent Uriel to the son of Lamech. And he said to him, go to Noah, tell him my name, hide thyself, and reveal to him the end that is approaching. The whole earth will be destroyed, and a deluge is about to come upon the whole earth, and will destroy it, and destroy all that is on it. And now instruct him that he may escape, and his seed may be preserved for all generations of the world. And again the Lord said to Raphael, bind Azazel hand and foot, and cast him into the darkness, and make an opening into the desert, which in Dudael, and cast him therein, and then place him on a rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness. This reminds me a lot of Prometheus. This Dudiel, the fate of Dudiel here. Prometheus stole fire and gave it to the people, the magic of fire, and he gave it to people. And when Zeus was like, yo, what are you doing? Why did you give this fire to these fucking people? They're not responsible. They're not going to know how to deal with this. And a lot of people say that he was punished because he gave the fire to the people, but he's actually punished because he lied to Zeus. Prometheus was like, what, me? No, I didn't do that, or whatever fucking lie. I can't remember whatever fucking lie he's told. And Zeus had him chained to jagged rocks, and every day vultures would come down and fucking eat out his liver, but he wouldn't die. And the next day he'd wake up and he'd be mended, and he would have a spare liver. It's like a fucking Mexican liver harvesting operation. Like every day he'd have a new liver for the fucking vultures to come and yank out of him. That reminds me of this Dudiel in his transgression and his punishment. Place him upon jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever, and cover his face, so he may not see light. And on the day of great judgment he shall be cast into fire, and heal the earth which the angels have corrupted, and proclaim the healing of the earth, that they may heal the plague, and that all the children of men may not perish, though all the secret things that the watchers are the angels who've done this. They're also called the Gregori. The watchers have disclosed and have taught their sons, and the whole earth has been corrupted through the works that were taught by Azazel. And to him ascribed all sin. And Gabriel said to the Lord, proceed against the bastards and the reprobates, and against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication and the children of the watchers from amongst men, and cause them to go forth. Send them one against the other, that they may destroy each other in battle. For length of days shall not they have, and no request that they make of these shall be granted until their fathers, until their behalf. For they hope to live in eternal life, and that each one of them will live 500 years. And the Lord saith unto Michael, go bind Semjaziah, and his associates who have united themselves with women so as to have defiled themselves within all their uncleanness. And when their sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth, till the day of their judgment, and of their consummation, till the judgment that is forever and ever consummated. And those days shall be led off to the abyss of fire, and the torment, and the prison in which they shall be confined forever. And whosoever shall be condemned and destroyed will from thenceforth be bound together with them in the ends of all generations, and destroy all the spirits and the reprobates and the children of the watchers, because they have wronged mankind. Destroy all wrong from the face of the earth, and let every evil work come to an end, and let the plant of righteousness and truth appear, and it shall provide blessings. The work of righteousness and truth shall be planted in the truth and joy of forevermore. And then shall the righteous escape, and shall live till they beget thousands of children. And all the days of their youth and their old age shall they complete in peace. And then shall the whole world be tiled and righteous, and shall be planted with trees, and be full of blessings, and all desirable trees shall be planted on it. You know, this is a really tree-friendly book. And they shall plant vines on it, and the vine which they plant thereon shall yield wine in abundance. And as for all the seed which they have sown, whereon shall bear 1,000, and each measure of olives shall yield 10 presses of oil. And cleanse thou the earth from all oppression, and from all unrighteousness, and from all sin, and from all godlessness, and all the uncleanliness that was wrought upon the earth. Destroy from off the earth, and all the children of men shall become righteous, and all nations shall offer adoration, and shall praise me, and all shall worship me. And the earth shall be cleansed from defilement, and from all sin, and from all punishment, and from all torment. And I will never again send them upon it from generation, and forever. So I just want to take a break right here and say that was God talking. And so you could see, like everything, he fucks this all up. It's a kind of a theme whenever we do a religious episode, that God just does not get anything right, and he thinks flooding this fucking planet and only keeping Noah's seed intact is gonna solve all this sin and shit. Take a look around. Hey, just drive down Forbes Avenue in Pittsburgh in the summertime for 1 second, and tell me what you think about that. Chapter 11, and in those days I will open the store chambers of blessing which are in heaven, so as to be sent down upon the earth over the work and the labor of the children of men, and truth and peace shall be associated with together throughout all the days and all the worlds, and throughout all the generations of men. So this is where I think we're going to stop for today. Right there. So we can pick back up at chapter 12, which it finally introduces Enoch into the situation. So, thank you guys. Like I said, thank you guys for tuning in. Again, I want to say that I kind of feel like a stripper out here in a room full of dudes who aren't tipping. And the tips that I'm looking for aren't expensive. So, with that being said, a bunch of shit's going to change. I'm not exactly sure what that change is going to look like yet. But, just putting out there, it's been like there's probably never going to be another week where there's more than one episode. I can't justify it, you know. So there's that. I'm not sure if you guys like cold opens. I'm not even sure if I'm going to be doing that. You know, the mailing list, iTunes, it's obviously that shit is not going to go on anymore. I'm not going to ask for that fucking help anymore. So there you go. So I'm just going to leave you with this. If you want to help me out, I guess, whatever. Like, what do you guys like about the show? What sort of topics do you enjoy the most? Do you like the history stuff? Do you like the religious stuff? Do you like the occult stuff? I don't know. Do I interject too many personal stories? If you could change one thing about the show, what would it be? So just like doing this would help me. Like fucking help me. My email address is towers113@gmail.com. Please go to www.stigmatastudios.com. Click the comic links. You can find all the oh wait, hold on. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hope you guys enjoyed the subject matter. Remember, if you want to get ahead of me for the next episode, you can go to Sacred Text. Just search for the Book of Enoch. We ended at chapter 11. So next episode, we'll start at chapter 12. See you next week. Like I said, stigmatastudios.com. You can click the little comic button there. Or there's, you know...
Vienna, 1683. Today is September 11th, 1683. The mighty army of the Ottoman Empire, led by the savage and radical terror troops of the Dar al-Harb, surround the walled city of Vienna and begin a siege to break the golden apple of Europe and kill, enslave, or convert all of its inhabitants. The valiant citizens stand against the tyrannical army with the steadfast leadership of Count Ernst Rudiger von Stromberg, the help of the ever-living rebel, Cyrus, the Dead Guy, and the hopes of the faraway King Jan Sobieski III and his army of flying hussars. The Vienna 1683 comic is available right now from Stigmata Studios at stigmatastudios.com and on indieplanet.us. The Non-Standard Squad, 1944. World War II. 3 weird American soldiers are on a search and rescue mission into the oldest and darkest regions of Europe. A cursed, ever-living warrior, Cyrus the Dead Guy. An experimental warbot, Sergeant Lane McCord. An all-red axe, mysterious rogue with a demon-possessed arm, come face-to-face with an army of magically corrupted machine-obsessed elves, a magic hammer-wielding Norse Ubermensch, and a Nazi wizard who is a member of the ancient Dark Order of the Shining Hexagon. The Non-Standard Squad 1944 comic is available right now from Stigmata Studios at stigmatastudios.com and on indieplanet.us.
All the links to my social media up there. You can click up there on the upper left-hand fucking corner. Drop me a line. Tell me what you like about the show, what you don't like about the show, yada, yada, whatever. Tell me about whatever. Just whatever. I'm tired of looking for music and stuff, so it's actually funny. I've never played this song before, but this song is called Red Horse Rising. It's actually about me. And this is the song that partially opens up the episode, but I'm going to play the whole thing in its entirety right now. It's from a band called Ex-Prophet. One day they got a hold of me and they're like, hey, Where my buddy Nelson Pyles is the singer, and he calls me and he's like, "Hey man, I'm writing a bunch of lyrics about kicking people in the face because I'm writing a song about you." So here it is. Thank you guys. See you next week. Again, please, if you're excited about the changes, if you're edgy about the changes, if you don't give a fuck about the changes, I guess I'll know the answer. But you know what I want you to do? You know that I know you're not going to do it, so this. Wait, I said this. Oh, embarrassing. Yes! Red Horse Rising! Opens the seventh seal. The second living creature said, and see. Then another horse. So the red one. Its rider was given power to take peace from the earth and to make men slay each other. To him was given a large sword. Come on, give it the red horse rising. Send me the red one. You better watch out. Do 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 do.